Louisiana versus all y'all. Jarrett Roser here today with Alexandria Senior High head coach Thomas Bachman, fresh off of a second-round playoff win this past week, and now the prize is the number 6 Trojans get to come down to Baton Rouge and face number 3 Zachary, who's obviously become a powerhouse in 5A in recent years. But, Coach, how are you guys doing up there? I'm sure there was a lot of excitement this past Friday to get to a 5A quarter and get over that hump last week. And I'm sure there's also been a heck of a lot of work this week getting ready for that next challenge.
Yeah, I think you described it pretty well. Obviously excited about where we are and the opportunity that's in front of us. I realize the challenge, that's in front of us. But I think the challenge being what it is excites you more. I mean, prepared really, really hard. Both coaches, players. I mean, there's a hunger and a desire, to want to continue. So excited. And as I've said a few times talking to people, when the year's over, there's always time to reflect. Hadn't had a whole lot of time to reflect about, what's been done or there's just not time for that. You wake up on Saturday morning, you get your butt up here and you go back to work because you got to, what you got staring you in the face and the quality of football team, the quality of coaching, the quality of the program. I mean, it's Coach Brew's got it rolling.
And it may take some time to fully recognize sort of the meaning of right now getting to the quarters. If you guys have success this week, potentially pushing it further to the semis and so forth. But you guys you get to a 5A quarters and you've had some really great teams in recent years that have come just shy of that, some heartbreakers and 1-point losses the previous 2 years. So I know it's a big moment for the program to take that next step, even with some of those great guys like Bud Clark and Jacobian Guillory on to the next level. This next group really kind of kept that ball moving through a really weird year and got it done to get to this point and give yourselves an opportunity.
Yeah, no, we've been knocking on the door and right there, play away. It's come down to the final play the previous 2 years. We went for 2 in double overtime against Ruston and didn't convert. We kicking a field goal there last year in the second round. So, been in these ball games, been in the tight ones and, come up a little bit short. It's not like we showed up in the second round, we got ran off the field and, we were somewhere we didn't belong. Our kids feel like they belong and, that they can compete, learning how to win it. Last week, obviously, first time we've been able to get it at home. 2 years ago, we were the 9 seed, had to go to the 8. And then last year we were the 3 and Mandeville pulls the upset or, the upset by numbers, not necessarily on the field. And, so you're traveling. So it was good to play it at home. Obviously we're not at home this week. So, that's the next step. Learn how to get yourself on a bus, go to one of these powers and spot a ball and play. That's one of the next hurdles and excited about the opportunity. I just keep saying that, but that's just the truth. I mean, just really anxious for the next, whatever it is, 36 hours or so to pass because, we need to have a good afternoon. We need to have a good morning tomorrow. There's still work to be done, but there's a whole lot of prep that's already in, and you just start getting really anxious for game time because most of the work's done and there's nothing left to do but go play. So, man, how quick can you get 7 o'clock to get here on a Friday night and get this thing going, watch the kids play, start making those, just making those in-game calls and it'll be here eventually. We just need to continue to prepare.
What has stood out about this year's group, whether it be the team as a whole or the senior class kind of helping lead the way in terms of just who these guys are as talented young football players or what they've been from a culture and leadership standpoint? Just what's kind of the identity of this group that has them back in this sort of a mix as a playoff contender and now pushing it that one playoff round further already?
Right. Well, obviously we graduated a great group last year. Not only did it have, a lot of players with name recognition, as you mentioned, Bud and Jacobian, and the leadership that they provide. They started playing for us as ninth graders when they showed up. We said, all right, we got a chance to go through some growing pains. Let's go through it with some of these guys that are going to be here for a long time. So we threw them out there as ninth graders, and uh, you know, they led and performed for a long time around here, but not just name recognition. We graduated about 30 kids last year. There was a whole lot of experience when you look across the field. Defensively, entire secondary was seniors. 6 deep on the defensive line were all seniors. We returned a little bit of the middle of the defense, but, it wasn't just that we graduated our starters last year up front. We graduated the guys that got all the reps, the fourth and the fifth and the sixth defensive linemen that went in and played. We graduated all of our experience up there. But the kids that we did return on the defensive side of the ball were some of our better players. Jermaine McNeil has been playing for 3 years, plays linebacker for us. Made a bunch of tackles. I mean, you pull up the stat sheet, and even last year with all those guys, Jermaine was right there in the mix week after week, leading the team in tackles or in consideration for, week after week. So his leadership, and then what that group was able to do as far as change what's expected. I can just remember all those years ago, there wasn't an expectation to win. You win a few games and people pull up the schedule and they look at it and say, okay, well, here's our record, because they didn't anticipate and nor think they could beat those names. And that's not the case. I think our kids expect to win. We laugh. Even with all this social media, some of these kids, what you and I know as adults, some of these kids don't know. They don't know who they're playing all the time. They live in their little small world that is Alexandria. Even with social media, their world is right here and right now. And so who they're playing and what they're playing is not always a big deal to them. So when you can create the expectation of, we'll take the field and there's an expectation to win, you start getting over the hump and you start getting things going in the right direction. Offensively, we returned quite a bit. We really did. We returned, guys up front, Cole Jones-Song and Dylan Dozart on the offensive line, been playing since they were sophomores. Judd's been playing since he was a sophomore. Both of our tailbacks, one was a sophomore, one was a junior last year. So they returned. And then we returned guys at receiver that had experience. There might have been a different guy that got the first rep of the game, but they were in the mix, and we played a lot of guys at receivers through the years. So there was a little bit of experience on the offensive side of the football. And, our offensive linemen come to mind for me, Cole and Dylan. You mentioned the culture and just the things that they control. And you're just talking about tough kids. Roll an ankle, don't miss practice, just gritting it out, just tough. Judd's not afraid to, he's in there lifting with the strongest dudes that we have. When your quarterback is in there grinding it out and just getting after it in the weight room, or when it comes to a sprint drill or competition and they're competing, I think that just bleeds into your team when your best players are your hardest workers and some of your highest character, most dependable kids. It leads to success, and that's what those guys have been for us. There's every year there's we laugh as coaches. It's like some as great of players as they've been. It's like, I'm going to miss him when he's gone, but I'm kind of ready for him to graduate. He's drove me crazy. And then there's some, this group right now, I would love to, I hate that they're graduating. I wish there was a way that, some of these kids are only 17, just young as could be. They could have another year, find a way to get that done. Of course, that won't happen, but you just hate to see them go because they've been so dependable and so tough. And really turned this thing and moved it in the direction that we hope that we're heading and want to continue to go.
With with that big graduating class from last year, when did you guys as coaches realize that this team had a chance to do some of these things that they've done? And when did they realize, or, maybe there was never a point where they didn't realize they could go do this sort of thing. But when were some of those moments along the way where things started to kind of fall into place?
Well, we felt good coming into the year. We knew we had to grow some guys up, starting some young guys that we think are going to be really good players. And, I said it all off season. I hope you get to the point around here where, every year somebody's saying, yeah, when that kid graduates, they're not going to be any good. And then 2-3 years later, they're saying, when that kid graduates, they're not going to be any good. And you just, there's going to be new names and new faces here. They'll be saying, when this kid graduates this year in this class, and yeah, you can't replace some of those. There's going to be new faces. There's going to be new names. There's going to be new players. And the expectation, the day in and day out work ethic that it takes to be successful, that's something we scream and preach and drive into the kid's mind. When January rolls around, when February, what you do today matters. It's next season, it's coming. It's not what you're going to do on September, whatever. It's what you do today on this morning, in January, February, the summer workouts, and getting kids to grab a hold of that what I do today on this rep, this drill, this practice, it matters. And if you make those moments matter day after day, time after time, we're going to give ourselves a chance to be in the battle. And that's all you want. This time of year, you want to know that you're going to go be in a battle, and that somewhere in the third, fourth quarter, you're going to be there with an opportunity to make the plays to win the game. And you just keep showing up and you just keep working. Doesn't always work out in your favor, but you do continue to show up and do the work. So, obviously 2020 has been a little bit different year for all that stuff, with all the hoops that the kids had to jump through and us as coaches. It's been a challenge, but, in so many ways it's been a level playing field because everybody's had to go through those. Everybody's been on everybody's had their structure and their routine disrupted, and they've had to come up with new plans. And so in that regard, the veterans that we've had, that we have helped us in that process where, that they've led the charge with how to show up and how to be on time and how to do the things that hopefully give you a chance to be successful.
You guys now get on that bus and head down to Baton Rouge on Friday afternoon or just north of Baton Rouge and face that Zachary Broncos team. As you guys started to prepare for this particular test or battle or however you want to phrase it, what are some of the areas that stood out to you, whether about particular challenges that Coach Brew's crew poses or areas of your guys' squad or game that you have to kind of be on top of and be really locked in and take care of your business?
Well, you just see that they're coached in all three phases, right? So it's one thing. There's a lot of people that have a lot of talent and have a lot of good players. You see the coaching regardless of who is playing a particular spot. You see the confidence that they play with. There's an expectation that they've created around there that somehow, some way, no matter what the start is in the game or how it's going, there's just an expectation that they are who they are and they're going to play their brand of football. And so, as a coach, I admire and respect it when you turn on the film. Their kids know their schemes. They know where they're supposed to be, and they're where they're supposed to be. They're hard to take advantage of. You're not going to trick them and deceive them into a win. You're going to have to line up and play fundamental football, hard nose, physical, match physicality. I mean, you see it, and you see it in all three phases on top of, countless guys when they touch the ball can score from anywhere on the field. A crease here, a misalignment there, and any of those guys get to the second and the third level, they have an opportunity to score, whether there's 99 yards in a field in front of them. There's just the explosiveness. I think last week they had 4 touchdowns cover 70-plus yards. You just see, like, they just make you accountable in a lot of areas. So just tons of respect for what they've done and the success that they've had and the way in which they do it.
We talk a lot about the culture you've built with your players over the last several years. I wanted to ask you too, we talked before about some of the aspects of that culture of building a program that extend beyond just the roster year to year and into the community and administration and at the school and school board level. And you had kind of an impassioned speech where you talked some about that, about a little over a month ago, about just some of the things that you see, some opportunities there to better support the student athletes in Rapides Parish. What has been kind of since that night or that day, what has been some of the response you've seen? Are there any updates in that regard of just some conversations that have happened to maybe have some of those things fall in place?
The support has been tremendous. People reaching out and offering support and saying thank you for, saying what you said, and the way in which you said it, as we talked before, I guess we went live, anxious about the way it's going to come off, because didn't want it to come off as a woe is me or a shame on you type thing. It was just we can be better. I'm gonna stand by that. The updates and what's going to come from it, I don't know yet. We've just been hard at work. There'll be time when the season's over. There'll be more time to go have conversations. To see what direction it is that we want to go, or how we can do just something. Hadn't had a whole lot of time for all that, to be honest with you. I owe it to these kids that are in our program right now to make sure I give them everything I got every single day to prepare them to go have a chance to be successful ultimately in life. But, from Friday night to Friday night, that we're doing our job as coaches. So hadn't necessarily spent a whole bunch of time on all that. I tried to speak from the heart. I tried to be honest. I tried to be sincere. I definitely don't want it to be about me. That's the most uncomfortable thing about all of it is, that it puts a spotlight on you per se. And that was not the point of the whole thing. You kind of stick your head out there. I don't want to be in the spotlight. I mean that. I love being with my kids. I love being with my coaches, and everything that comes, good and bad, from being a part of a team. The difficult moments, even those moments are fun. The difficult and the hard moments when you're having to discipline kids for wrong choices, that you enjoy all that because you're a part of it. Not that you enjoy the disciplining of the kids. You want them to do what's right all the time, but just being a part of a team, and that's what I want to do. But been here for a long, what I feel is quite a while, 6 years. You say all that stuff in year one, and not that we've tried to come in, and when I say we, this is not me. This is I got a group of men here that have showed up and put their head down and gone to work. It's not a handout mentality, because I don't want our kids to ever have that, where we're going to, give me. No, we want to show up and earn. Hope that we've done that. I do want this to be said, and I want to stress this. I tried to stress this in the original. This community is incredible. It really is, the way they support our school and just the quality of people. I've loved being in Alexandria. I'm not a not from here. It is home now. It is home to myself, my wife, my kids. It's home. We love it here, and the people are incredible. And we want to do our part to try and make it the very best that it can be. That's what that was, and we're here to do the work alongside people, and are going to continue to fight those battles, continue to say those things, and also I can get underneath leadership. Ultimately, there's people that have a higher pay grade, not necessarily pay grade, but I understand leadership and how to get underneath leadership. And the leader says, go this direction. He's the one in charge, and I will follow the leadership of my school system, and or I'm the one that has to go do something else, because that's just the way it is. And so I can do that too. I just want to be a part of some of the solutions.
Absolutely. And I look forward to seeing, the way things can develop coming from there, because I think some of the first aspect is kind of having that conversation and bringing some things to light. And as you mentioned, some work ahead in some of those regards. And I know you guys, as we've talked a lot about, have put a ton of work in this week getting ready for this next one. And good luck to you guys. The 6 seed Trojans heading down to the number 3 seed Broncos on Friday night.
Yep. Appreciate it, Jared. Really appreciate you having me on, man.
Appreciate you. Again, he's Coach Thomas Bachman of Alexandria Senior High, and for Louisiana versus all y'all, Jarrett Roser.